I'm just worried that she's standing. Go live here in a minute, folks.
Then you and Mark look very
Seafoam greenish.
coordinated today.
He's called her.
Is it her, John?
It was Mike, but he was talking to somebody. I'm not sure who he was talking to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morning. Just waiting for one more member here, a couple more members to be, starting momentarily.
Tell us where you're at. Right.
Thanks, you said,
Yeah, I guess I'll figure it out.
Hi. Okay, that is yours. You're very welcome.
One mic. Oh, that's true. I see Bernie Poplinski at the Mark Tucker concert a couple of weeks ago.
Good concert?
It was okay. You know, yeah, I know. It was a lot of gray hairs. Yeah.
That was forehead of security. I couldn't see what it was.
Oh, we'll get started. She'll she's up to talk. Well, I'd like to call this meeting, IDA order. We'll start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the,
Albrecht.
Here.
Day.
Here.
Gurecki. Here. Scarano.
Here.
Warrenbeck.
Here.
Basil. Oh, no.
here.
We do have a form.
All right, okay, Alana should be here on the left. Yeah, you're-
Sure. The Herkimer County Industrial Development Agency delivers economic incentives to business to diversify and strengthen Herkimer County's tax base and enhance community vitality by supporting job creation, business, industrial development, and community revitalization. We strive to develop a local economy in an organized, sustainable, and environmentally beneficial manner. That's cool. How are you?
How are you?
Want to welcome Alana Basil, our new IDA board member. Thank you for sitting on the board with us. And you just started, so
You joined us.
and it was a birthday Sunday.
Thank you.
It's the same birthday as
I know. We can't forget it.
and my anniversary. So now I'll never forget Karen's or Alana's birthday.
Forget either one.
Well,
I'm covered.
would you like to say anything?
Sorry, I'm late today. There were school buses, wasn't prepared for that. No, I'm just really excited to join the board. I'm glad you guys asked me. If you don't know, I'm third generation on my family's business, Original Herkimer Cheese. I've been there for about 4 years. I actually used to come from the digital marketing world, and I was in New York City for about 10 years. And I decided to move back about 4 years, so 4 years ago. So, and I'm excited to join you.
Okay, let's move on to item 4, our minutes, the consent to you, our annual additions and deletions, corrections. I will, make a motion to, accept the minutes. And second by John. Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed, nay? Yes, sir.
Maybe a lot of those
Some of us, not all of us. I just, because I don't think she knew who I am. I'm just her. I don't know.
Change them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what- that's why I wanted to hear about those.
Right. Yeah. And directing. Well, seeing you.
Legislator Schroeder. Nice to meet you.
Casey Halloran, I missed you the other day, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yay. Met me last week.
Yeah.
Mike Lawrence, the weekly Hurricane County list.
Yep.
Jim Day. Tony Howard, as a board council.
I know you
I'm
do.
the only thing that's in here.
And the mask to Jim Bono today.
I'm correct.
Good, like.
All right, motion was made second, all in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? June financials have been sent, they're in the packets, to 7/13. Any questions right off the bat? Opposed? If not, John, you want to go through?
Yeah, we're looking very strong as usual. We've had all of our any loans that we have outstanding have been paid up to date. We're on track with a lot of things. Here we are at our June date, but you can see we're moving into really August next month. So as you know, this is 1 month behind. There'll be some things that we need to purchase coming up, and also some travel. So you'll see that as we go through the next couple of months. Upgrade and some computer things, some additional travel, which we'll talk about. You'll see, hopefully we'll add to some of the additional grant things by the end of the year. Beer Belly Bob is really our only outstanding large loan, and he came in and gave us a whole bunch of checks the other day, brought no samples. So that was a little disappointing. But everybody seems to be paying up, and Victoria will get into our CARES grant update in our small business 222 program. But other than that, we're good with everything. We actually also, just so everybody knows, last week we received a check from New York State Department of State for a couple $100,000 for the water transmission line. So we're waiting on that. So that's a big positive. After the St. John Demorest a little bit on that, but which was really good too, because the county supports us with that, and we'll pay that back. Does anyone have any questions for me at all? And I'm happy to sit down and go through a lot of this with anyone at any time. And usually this comes out beforehand too, so if there's any questions, or you can have them reach out to me at any time.
Any questions, comments? Need a motion to, Lori, motion to second. Mike, what's that? Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Any opposed? No. Very, let's come to our one. Victoria, you want to give us?
Yes, we will start with the CARES grant. We had an implementation call with our community developer from Homes and Community Renewal last week. So we basically discussed some of the timeline, the flow of funds, how jobs will be reported, how the program is going to be laid out. We're currently in the process of working with Herkimer County to complete all the additional forms. So they have to complete some forms in addition to the grant agreement, as well as the subrecipient agreement. I got an email this morning from our community developer that the program guidelines and the application were approved. So we were working closely with her on that. We initially thought that we would only be able to assist businesses with 6 to 25 employees. That is not the case. We will actually be able to assist businesses with less than 5 also. So micro enterprises, just like we did with the prior grant fund that we had received. So we will be working closely with the Small Business Development Center like we did with the micro enterprise. And they've actually assigned a program administrator through them. So I'll be working directly with someone at the Small Business Development Center to work through these grants. And we will have to do this in a year. So we're going to be quickly moving along once we get all of the documentation submitted.
Well, just a couple things to add to Victoria's talk to. This is a $500,000 grant. It's a big nut, so we're happy to help the community with that. We are waiting on things from the county for the NEPA requirements. I forwarded on something to, the attorney today. I didn't see her name on the email back. But we really need to push that through because the clock started ticking in June, right, Victoria?
Yes, June
So
23rd.
it's something that we need to move up and move ahead with. But there's some great opportunity here for a small business, you know, that's owned and operated by the individual. And like Victoria said, up to 25 people. So we can work with them on either new hires or retention. And those are two very critical things today with COVID hiring and stuff. So it's another great opportunity. Once again, without the support of the legislature, we couldn't do this grant. A lot of these grants have to go through them for support for public hearings and resolutions. But we do have a sub-recipient agreement or one close to being signed. So when that happens, then we administer and process all of that.
I would also like to mention that Homes and Community Renewal is visiting Herkimer County due to all of the outstanding projects that we have going on. They're gonna come, Ashley Ivashenko, she was the community developer for the micro enterprise program, and Scott Lamountain, he is the program director, so he's the guy for Homes and Community Renewal.
I don't say this often, but he is a rock star. He has truly helped our county with everything from processing grants with HBK, Tractor Supply, you know, companies like that, Turbo Machine Products. So these are two individuals that will help us continue to get money through CDBG.
Anything else?
Not on that piece? Thank you.
What's a NEPA?
That's the federal requirement. The money that comes through CDBG or through Housing and Community Renewal is federal money. So not only do we have to do a seeker, but we have to do a NEPA overall on it. Now, there's no real environmental issues when we're applying for the grant. But what we have to keep in mind, if any of these recipients of the part of the $500,000 does anything to disrupt the environment, construction, anything to change the landscape, we have to do that NEPA requirement for each grant.
So it's environmental.
It's environmental, so it's
Okay.
more than just the seeker. There's a lot more involved in it. It's just not a simple process. But I'll tell you, the things that we've seen in a lot of other areas don't apply for these because it is a process. You know, and the county does a lot to support us with this, as I said, you know, scheduling hearings, doing the resolutions, there's work involved. So that's why it's important we continue to do it and follow the right process.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for the sewer 222, everyone's making their payments accordingly. We had closings recently with a couple of different recipients, and that brought the balance of the account to less than $1. So at this point, we're just trying to replenish the fund. But if you look at your balances in your financial piece, it's the principal balances are totaling just over $6,300. So we're getting to the point where that is kind of running out, unfortunately. So John and I have been having discussions on how we can go about getting some more money to put into the fund to help.
Yeah, we cannot put our money into that fund. That's the problem. The IDAs are not able to give grants. So, you know, as things change, we might be able to figure out a way, but we have people looking into that now. So hopefully.
Anything else, Victoria?
All
All right, thank you. Go on to item 7, the processing study, which came out.
We didn't want anyone to cheat and look ahead, you know, I'm used to doing school. So, I'm sorry we don't have enough for everyone, but yeah. So as most of you recall, we had our presentation a couple weeks ago at the college. Once again, an excellent venue, worked out really well for us. These are our final deliverables from KK&P, the firm that we hired to support the grant. You can see the different properties in there and the way it ties into what we do at the IDA. you know, we keep the same color scheme. They bring in some other, some of the testimonials, a lot of the outlines. So they also gave us like what our next step could be, and myself and Victoria are working on that now. Just so you know too, I don't think I brought this up, but Ryan Tomiato is no longer with us. I know I sent an email out. Took another marketing position where he works at home, making an awful lot more money. So you can't blame him. At his master's, wanted to continue on. And I think it's one of the second largest internet marketing firms in the country. But we'll talk about that position later. But he did a lot of work with them too, a lot of follow-up. So those are things you can look at. We'll be incorporating more of that through our website. We're going to want to utilize them and come up with some type of continuing conversation with them. What type of agreement we're still working on, but we want to engage with them as much as possible, introductions and things. One of the things we learned at our meeting at the college was that we definitely don't know everything, and there's some issues out there. The simplest drying product, aseptic milk, packaging. These are some of the things that are issues that we can start to target as we acquire more property and have ways to develop. So aseptic milk seems to be a real big one too, with a long shelf life and the way that it can support a lot of area. And the way that, you know, things are changing due to COVID. So we're going to definitely keep in touch with them. One of the things that we do have on the agenda with that, well, before I go on to that, does anyone have any questions on the handouts at all? You'll see more of this on our website. I'm able to answer not, if it's not now, it can be later. Some of you had a chance to meet with them one-on-one. You know, we got to take them to the Water Buffalo Range too. That was quite unique. I told them all to wear boots, and they all bought these funky New York City boots to wear. No one probably sat next to them on the train either, because they smelled like water buffalo. But it was a great day. So great 2 days, because we did learn a lot. And it's always good to have people come in from out of the area and take a look at us and show us more of our strengths than what we realized. And you know, and we'll talk about another group we have coming in the next 2 days, you know, from San Fran and from Massachusetts. So we continually bring people in now. So the other one is attached with that is some of the things that from additional cost to get them up here and to do some additional things for us. And that's on the next page of your packet. It's an additional $10,950. We have that money easily available in the budget, either through marketing. So we would like to, we want to go through and get a motion to get this passed through, Jen. Does anyone have any questions on the invoice at all? I know you're probably first seeing it right now, but it does outline that they came up, you know, what they did with that. We did have many conversations, even prior to receiving the grant, in the process of doing the grant. So, and this was and once again, back to CDBG, Housing and Community Renewal. This was the first time this program ever gave a food processing grant. The grant basically is designed for studies. This is a study. And before they were done with sidewalks, roads, bridges, water, you know, different things like that. And when we went to them and said, look, why can't this fit that? Because we don't do the other things. They agreed, and we won the first one of $50,000 with them. So we're very excited about that as well.
Questions? Need a motion to accept that proposal. And second by John Brown. Discussion. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Carried. Item number 8 is the Skyler Business Park. Let's start with the first one, landfill study of roadway B and C, otherwise known as.
Oh man, Andrew Usick Drive and George Dunbar Drive, right? Everything. He sounds like the guy from A Wonderful Life, doesn't he? George Dunbar. Somebody ring him back. But so they named the 2 roads. Please go to the park and see it. You'll be amazed that in that field 2 years ago, it was truly a field where me and Mr. Bono drove through it in his truck, and we couldn't believe it. And today it's just amazing. So Road B now comes off the cul-de-sac between Pepsi and Fountainhead and goes down the road to almost to the thruway. And at the end of that road, we have a 3-acre detention area for any runoff from our roads. Just past the Fountainhead will be Road C, or George Dunbar, which will go behind Fountainhead past the 25 acres we're in the process of selling to the 34 acres that are remaining. So this kind of gives you the schedule where we're at. One of the setbacks that we have had is with the water authority and the health department and getting piping down the road, because we really wanted to install the water at the same time. The water authority would like it if we took the water line from the cul-de-sac and attached it to the 10-inch main that runs over to the thruway rest area. But however, the type of pipe that they chose, or that's their only spec, doesn't allow us to get that in. So they're actually stealing it from another job once the pipe comes in. Pardon? Sure, I'm not stealing it. So the water authority steal it in case anybody missed that. But no, they're just, it's a job that they have scheduled that they can shift it around. So we hopefully will start that process in about October. So we'll be looking for additional, they'll be coming back to bid with additional monies for that. But when you get over there, you'll see the road includes the cul-de-sac, well, from the cul-de-sac down, the detention area, fenced in, heavy, not final blacktop, but everything but. Two, what are those things called at the end that trucks turn around in? Hammerheads, 2 hammerheads that allows the larger trucks to turn around. You will also see when you go into the park, there's studies being done on not the first 15 acres, but the second 10, or 11 actually, and that's where Project Orange Crush will be. And they've come in from the backside and down the road to do those studies, and we'll talk more about them in a little bit. So just discussion on this. We didn't put in the invoice in here for the park cleanup, correct?
No.
Okay, so but we voted for that online.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. So and how much was that? I can't.
7,250.
Okay, 7,250. Once again, I recommend you go see how nice that turned out in the park. We had weeds probably 5 to 6 feet tall growing in there. Now it's all cleaned up. It not only gives the people that are going in there who had to do the studies for the 11 acres to get going on that structure, who will be in front of the Schuyler Planning Board on next Wednesday. But also lets us again show that 15 acres, and on was it Monday last week? I got the call. Monday of last week, which we'll talk about in executive session. I got a call, so we're excited about that too. So we do need a motion to ratify that email for the 72.5, right? For cleanup.
The motion and second, Cory, any discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, nay. Carried. Let's go on to the sign.
Yeah, so included in your packet too is a rendering or a drawing, I think it's a rendering, but a drawing of a sign that we worked before with Valley Signs, who put up the one in front that says "Watch Us Grow." Both Pepsi, Fountainhead, and Wilcor have asked about what are we doing with signage. The sign that you see in there is kind of a taller model. It'll have a solar light with it. There'll be many more room on it than what you see there in order to put the businesses. And I think it's something we're going to put right in the front, where next to where Colucci Trucking will be. And before we get any type of thing going with the building, the space right when you first pull into the park. It'll have, like I mentioned, solar lights. We don't want to run power there. We'll put it close enough to the road. We'll have some landscaping around it. We'll maintain it. But this gives us a nice look. And they're really in need of that there. So their trucking and other people, because it's taken a while for Ken Dodge to get on GPS. And it'll definitely take a while for Andrew Usick and George Dunbar. So we'd like to move ahead with this sign. The last price estimate we got,
12,000. But
I,
that was
I
in
think it's gonna be
2020.
more than that, to be honest with you. That was a couple years ago. But it's something that we need in the park. We also are gonna be working with the town because the temporary road sign they put up disappeared and Dodge Drive. I think if we go to Rodney Dodge's house, we'll find it. No, I'm only kidding. But, so we have to get that going as well because, we're getting there's a lot of things going in and out of that park. And I think it's important we have a good sign and we, point out where.
What's the sign made of? John? It doesn't tell me.
No, I'll get all of that for you. It's not, well, it's not paper mache, you know,
Well,
it's,
the last two signs we had made didn't hold up very long, but Frankfurt business cards.
yeah, I wasn't involved in those. And,
I know, I'm just
so
saying.
what I'll do is, yeah, this is what, take a look at that sign that we put up there a couple, you know, how long ago did we put up the Come Grow With Us sign? And it looks like we just put it up. Yeah, it really withstood the
Any
weather.
chance of sign?
No, we shouldn't have that sign. You know. Yeah, there is a chance, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll have George come by.
I just think I'm not really sure about the sign, the way it looks. I really looks by the business card horizontal than vertical. I just- and start to touch sometimes. Although there's a modern look.
And a directory for the Skylar Business Park. So more important is the people in it, but I'm willing to take us, we could show you other designs.
Me personally, I'd rather see it all horizontal than Skylar Business Park.
You don't like it this way?
No, the first time I was seeing it, because I did my packet. No. My
Everybody
first
else
plan.
did, but I'd rather see a couple options other than just the one.
Okay.
Especially if it's 12
Oh,
down.
fine.
You know, so this is what I'd like to do, and I appreciate the input.
Yeah.
Well, it's very small right here, and I do have other pictures, but I appreciate the input.
Yeah.
So if it's okay with everybody, I'll include Ann and Jimmy and all the sign stuff, and they'll be the recommenders of what we go with, because you know how limited staff we are now, and it would really help.
Yeah, I think you should send it to the whole board.
I'll join that group too.
Okay, good. So I'll send it to the three of you, and we'll take your votes and recommendations. Thank you. That helps.
It's not the sign.
That's right. Don't, signs
Okay, so
everywhere.
we're gonna hold off. on that,
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, office, that's number 9.
Yeah.
So we just take controller audit.
We talked about this before, but since they're, it went to the media, and some things, you know, they didn't read it, to be honest with you, and then they came back, and I thought it was quite unique when, Talk of the Town started saying, well, you know, they're not doing it right down there, and they're doing all these things, but you gotta read what the report calls out. We had one major finding, and it was about the $6,500, that, HPK received additional sales tax abatement on. If you read the application or anything, even they couldn't tell us. And right, Jim, we sat right here and it says estimate. Estimate. What's an estimate? Besides that, during COVID, prices changed, delivery changed. So they were about 65 over sales tax abatement that didn't affect anybody. And the controller's office said we needed to reclaw that back, or, you know, claw that back. And we said, no. I could just see us in front of a judge now saying, we need to claw back, you know, because they'll definitely fight us over it and say, well, he'll say, let me see the application, let me see the rules. And it says estimate. He's going to say, here's estimate. Why is this not an estimate anymore? And we asked them to change it, right, Jim? You sat in there. We all asked them, change it to what you wanted to say. But we did not overstretch anything. And everything else that was in that article was recommendations done on best practice, not on written rules, because they could not provide us with any data on written rules. And we went through each one and we said, so show me. I had no problem following anything. And I've done audits for years in manufacturing. I think it was a great learning process. It kind of stunk having 3 individuals here for, I don't know how many months, 6, 7 months, and having 2 other audits going on at the same time for a small office. However, we got through it. But the recommendations, you know, the best practice is their best practice. The next group that came in didn't have that same best practice. we review these things, we review the ABOs that we submit, we review, our financials are fine, they're outlined clearly. They had questions on monitoring and they wanted us to put in a New York State 45 form. Most of you might not know what that is. That's a form that the businesses has to send in, I believe it's once a quarter, right? To outline their employees. Well, you already get it, the state. Now you want us to get another copy of that and submit it so you get it twice, so you don't have to go look anywhere else. Now that's fine now, and we'll do that, but that's not anything that we could find anywhere where it's written to do that. We do a survey, we ask where they are. You can't tell me I'm not talking to everybody all the time. We said that to them too. They couldn't give us definitive, but they had to find something. So, I personally don't have a problem with anything. My only problem with the media was they're quick to pick up the phone and say, why are Amazon trucks driving everywhere? But they're not quick to say, oh, you got this, let's just run it. Let's not call John and ask any questions. So I just wanted y'all to know again, if anybody has questions on it, I'm happy to answer here or any other time. We did do some new things about it. Myself and Stacy got some new titles. We bought a new software package that we utilize. We changed the way that we process checks. Now we had zero any type of findings on them. The checks were still all worked out, everything equaled out. But before we would process and then allow John to come in when he could. So now we don't send a check out till either John, Ann, or Jimmy reviews them. Which is fine too. It just slows down. We don't like to owe some of the smaller people that help us out too long, but they've all been very receptive on coming in. So, which I think that's fine too. We don't mind doing these things. Sometimes it takes an extra set of eyes. We didn't realize it would be 3 sets of eyes and then 2 other ones at the same time. But we did learn. Maybe they'll come back again. We asked them if they would. They said they don't know. When I first joined, we were interested in getting audited, but no one wanted to know you, so they pick you out of a hat. And we did have some issues too, not with them per se, but we found some other things when we took over with our new accounting firm. That things we didn't do we had all the numbers, they just needed to be put in other places. And you learn from a better firm than what you had before. So, So I just wanted everyone to know that we're always happy to discuss. And there's nothing, our financials are great. We keep every dollar, we know where every dollar is. It's just the way, and it got out there, which I had no problem with either. It's just no one wanted to ask you a question. They just wanted something negative.
I've been in this for 18 years. This is the first one. So you're gonna find something, like John said, best practice is best practice. We all do things different. And we're missing that, and so we learn from it and we move on. So
You're being scrutinized more because of the amount of activity you're generating.
No, they just picked us. We came in after Jefferson County. I don't think so. They were doing Otsego County, who has no projects really, and they were there longer. And the thing was, what was most difficult about it is, we have everyday stuff we're doing. We have other forums that we constantly have to do, especially Stacy and Victoria. They would come in and say, well, we need to go over this right now, maybe 3 o'clock today. Let's pick a time. We just can't. Sometimes we could meet with them right away, but it was difficult because we are a small staff. Edge has a CEO or a CFO and 3 assistants. So no one, and I'm not knocking them, but they're a much bigger place. I felt bad for, Otsego County. Jefferson County has more than we do, and less projects, but more people. So they were able to assist them more. But we're very proud of the amount of new policies that you've all helped us with. The way we constantly became more meeting what the goals are of the state. Any new laws that came out, we really work with either Tony or other groups to make sure we're in place, because we do know we have a lot of light on us, and we will have more with other projects that we'll discuss later. But yeah, I don't feel like we were picked on. Did you feel that way?
if they were doing their job, we were fine. Listen, and that number $6,000. When you're dealing with millions of dollars and you deal with an estimate of you're off by 6,000, I think it was bullseye. I think it would be put on page 10, and that would be really sad. So it was on the first page.
Yeah. But 60.
I will say too, the other IDA audits were listed out there as public information as well. So I kind of skimmed through those and, you know, our audit findings fell in line with the others as well. So considering the, you know, like to Mike's point, you know, the amount of projects that we have going on, especially as compared to prior years, the ratio of our findings versus our projects, I thought was very impressive. So, you know, take the time to go out there to, you know, see the other counties and their findings, and in comparison, you'll see that they all pretty much were very, so I was very impressed with the limited scope of what we had.
Thank you. In 2016, a lot of new laws and rules came into place before we were here. And, you know, we were struggling then at the time. So that wasn't a priority, and we changed that now. We're working many different things at one time now, because we know we're getting looked at, which is fine. But thank you for those comments, because it is important that people know what we're doing.
Okay, let's go to item 10, project launch request. You probably heard about it. You sign your authorization, 10,
Yeah.
2021 in the packet.
So yeah, so in our packet, we're gonna have a few different things that we have to do. Everything from the application, set the hearing. So we'll start with, so Project Orange Brush is in the Schuyler Business Park. They are taking the 11 acres on Andrew Usick Drive, the last sellable property on the right-hand side. They'll be down close to the thruway. They will be presenting to the Schuyler Town Board their building and plans on August 11th or August 3rd. Mr. Halleck will be attending that as well, correct? So that seems to be full steam ahead. And just so for the record too, Schuyler, the town of Schuyler has been right up there with the rest of them, as being one of the easiest and most workable bids that we have in the county. And we're very excited to continue to do those projects there. So the first thing is the assignment of authorization, which is on page 20 and 21. We need to just vote and, you know, so that's the first one. And it's called Marcus Ventures. So it'll be a warehouse distribution. The company will own the warehouse and then lease out the building to a company that's going to be a distributor.
Need a motion? Cory, Craig Johnson, any discussion? Favor aye. Any opposed, nay. Carry.
John, we know who they're gonna lease it to, or anybody?
We can discuss that in executive session. If you look at the application, it's even confidential. Victoria, we're going to do a roll call on this instead of this.
Okay, so you want to have this passed and the last one?
No, the next one.
So let's go to consent to.
No, wait, yeah, no, I'm sorry. This group. Reducing the resolution. Why didn't we have these on order?
So you want to roll call. Let's get. So which item do you want to handle next?
Consent to be assigned.
Let's go to consent to the assignment under White Council.
Which, yeah, but where is that?
Page 22 to 24.
I think that's it. Doesn't it?
Is
this it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, I'm 22, and that would be a roll call. And it's a state.
So you want to roll call on this next one? Yeah. The motion to accept. Mike Bernzak, second. Dave, any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Serrano,
Yes.
Warnzak,
Yes.
Basil,
Yes.
oh no.
Yes. Yeah, it passes. Application for financial assistance, page 25 through 35.
So this really gives a good broad stroke of what the building is going to look like, 52,000 square foot, parking for 50 automobiles, 34 box trucks. And gives you an idea where it does say under C subleases, it's confidential. Total amount of the project is $8,721,000, or wait, I'm sorry, $8,721,605. You can see where their bank financing is coming from. Also talks about, mortgage reporting tax, sales tax in here as well. Talks about, how much the pilot would be if we didn't give them one, or they didn't do the project, it would be zero because we own the property. There will be no full-time jobs associated with the construction or the owner of the warehouse. We did get in some, or did we get in the construction jobs or no? We did, but we're waiting to figure out the income tax on that one. So, and then this is parcel E, which we talked about at the end.
Questions? Need motion? Castorano, second. Lori. Any discussion? Roll call on this.
Yes, I do.
The roll call, please. Stacy?
Albrecht,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Gurecki, Scarano,
Yes.
Warren Zach,
Yes.
Aslo,
Yes.
and Bono.
Yes. Petition passes, next one will be the inducement resolution. Next, separate.
Okay, so it's not in your packet right now, but Mr. Halleck's gonna outline a couple things for you.
No. Right. Mr. Allen?
Well, consistent with the conformance report, we've developed a good project. An inducement agreement which incorporates the sales tax and disclosures directly into the agreement and also attaches all the real property tax disclosures in the exhibit. That draft will be available at the end of today for signature to go out. So I'm still asking that the project be reduced.
Just one sec, Victoria, did we get this from Lillian late yesterday?
Yes.
So it did come in.
That's
But it wasn't,
Already agreed.
okay, yes, no, make it pass it, we're gonna vote on it, and pass it for the recommendation.
It's at the public hearing.
Okay, so I need a motion to, so the inducement. Michael, and second today, any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Albrecht,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
Gurecki, Scarano,
Yes.
Warren Zach,
Yes.
Aslo, Bono.
Yes. We need to set a public hearing,
Would you want to do it before, if we do it at our next meeting?
Yes, we
Get
can.
some time.
Yes, it'll be time. They're gonna have at least 60 days to get this valid plan.
And that would be August 30th.
We should be fine. The public authorities date expires next week, so we'll be ready to close soon as they get back.
Okay, so we're gonna close on the property, prior to them starting anyway, right? We'll close on that next.
Council hasn't discussed that with me. We've given them all the title clears that they have to pay. It may depend upon what their lender wants to do.
But they're gonna have to before they start on the project.
so we'll set a public hearing for August 30th, our next meeting. Need a motion to, go ahead with that. Mike, where's that second? Tim, Dave, any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Albrecht,
Oh, well, I tell you, we're doing it. Yeah, okay, that's, all in favor, aye? Any opposed?
So just so you know too, is when they do these studies on the site, they came in to do a geotechnical study to check for where the building's gonna go for soil compaction and everything. They do supply us with insurance records too, so we have that when they go onto the site. They also realize that they cannot start this till we have the agreement in place if they want to receive any benefits from the IDA. So what'll probably happen, as Tony mentioned, it's probably about 60 more days out, but we're probably gonna close on the actual property before that. And remember, when we sell property, we owe the county $4,500 an acre. Plus, we'll have to be paying, did we put that in here to pay back, so, not that one, but the roads and everything, Victoria? Is that in here too, or not? Just, we'll do it for the next. Yeah. Yeah. So what we also do is pay for any of the roads or detention areas too. So that goes back to the county as well, 4,500, just so everybody knows. So the next meeting will be submitting that back.
So Bloom is the actual builder.
Well, that's the name they came up with. Yeah, they own many other warehouses around, so.
They got us set for leasing.
Yes, they do, which we can discuss in executive session.
All right, let's go to item 11, dual the letter of engagement.
Yeah, so with a lot of moving parts, and I have talked to Tony before in the past about brownfield properties, and he had no issue, correct, Tony, with us reaching out to other council. Yeah, but Hodgkin Russ is one of the experts in the state when it comes to brownfield litigation, as well as brownfield engagement, as we know from our Quackenbush success. So in here is a letter to work with us in the village. The IDA will be the will pay the representation, and we can go. There's one thing that I will discuss about this in executive session because it's a contract, but not their contract. So I'm looking to bring on Hodgkin Russ for anything to do moving ahead with the dual poles project.
Questions? The motion to accept that. Take them on Tim, okay, second. All right, any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Carries. Historic preservation grant.
So there's two grants that we'll be going for the dual fold. So there's two grants. First one is the historic preservation grant. We talked about this before. That's due on Friday. We're working with, right now, what we're gonna go after that money for will either be for the windows or the stabilization of the building. And that will, the building, we brought in a large contractor to make sure, because any more of that building that comes down, we might not be able to save some of the backside, the furthest part for redevelopment. We feel very confident in both of these grants, but the historic preservation one is something that we're going to apply for, and we'll be reaching out to people to let them know. We're also getting letters of recommendations. So, but I would like a resolution that says that we're in support of the historic preservation grant, and we'll be working towards the $500,000.
The motion. And second, John, any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Carries.
The next one is the Restore New York grant. We'll be applying for $2 million. This grant hasn't been around for a few years, but the dual fold is a perfect site for that. We're already prepared. Other people that want to do the Restore grant, you really have to have everything in place to take the next step. And we know what we've been doing with the dual fold site, and this is the next step. And this will definitely help once again with some stabilization and some other things to get that property ready for development. So we need a resolution for the IDA supporting that grant as well.
Please, motion. Tim, second, Mike, any discussion? All in favor, aye. Opposed, carries.
So as you can see, what we've been, no, I don't want to, just one more thing. That's okay. So as you can see, we've been doing a lot with this brownfield, and we want to continue to do that around the county. So if any other brownfield properties, we can, now that the Restore is coming back, the first round that we apply for is August 11th. But they're not going to spend all the money now. They're going to reopen it up for in October. So we're hoping that we could possibly get some other properties to help apply for more Restore money in the October timeframe. So please keep that in mind. We would help start working on those projects now in order to make them available to the money. Also too, I know it's in other, but for dual fold, I just want to remind everybody too, this week, which you all should have received emails on for scheduling purposes, we won another $100,000 grant through the EPA for site recommendations there. And we have two gentlemen coming in, one from San Francisco and one from Cambridge, Mass, to help us take a look at what we're going to do with that site. Everything from what we can do with the buildings to what we could possibly do in the green space behind it. So we have two good days, as well as we'll be having a booth at the food truck rally tomorrow night as well. And to get people's input from the public. We did that once before, Stacy, Victoria, and myself. But now we're going to do that with this group of individuals. We've sent the emails out to everybody in this room. I think we sent it to Tony, and there was a reason for that. We don't need to argue. No, but, Tony, you're more than welcome to come, but they're gonna be here, and we told you which, you can come to the whole days if you'd like, but there's certain programs that we'd like you all to be a part of, and we specified that in the emails. So please come, anybody online too, please come if you can. But these are 2 great days, and this is a good firm. Victoria, myself, and Stacy have worked with some firms not so good, and we've let the EPA know it, but so far we had some very good thoughts with these guys, so we're looking forward to that event. Thank you.
And 12, Village of Newport, property about, properties.
Yeah, so what we're asking for to do is just like we've done at the dual fold and some of the other ones, we wanted help. Myself and Legislator Weekly attended a meeting last Monday in the Village of Newport. And they are looking at the old school up on Schoolhouse Road, I think it is. Beautiful, the brick, everything. It's the bones. I don't want to tear it down. I know other people are thinking that, but I think there's a lot. There's many additional things that we can engage for that building. Especially how close it is to the West Canada, how easy Newport is to get from Utica, Marcy, where a lot of that high-tech growth is, even from down in Herkimer. So I mean, we just see that opportunity there. So I'd like to do a phase 1 study to start. We received a quote from HRP in our packet. There's one in here for both asbestos and cleanup. So I would like to do both of those. The brownfield, or I mean, the phase 1 is 32.5, 3,205. The asbestos is a little more not as defined because of not knowing the building and everything. So it talks about the lump sum of $1,200 per day, and $100 travel per day. They're hoping it's 1 day, but it might be 2. And then sending sampling out, it shows you on there. So we're still looking at probably under $5,000 to $6,000 on that, unless there turns into be a lot more sampling. From what I talked to one of the previous owners the other day on the phone, he believed that somebody did a study in the past and did some removal. But, unless they have documentation, which they don't, we can't trust that. So I would like to move ahead so we can help the community of the Village of Newport move ahead with those. Well, no, right now a private individual owner owns it. He's giving us the rights through their attorney to get on there on the property to do these things. He's already agreed to turn it over to the village. The thing that we have to keep in mind, and one thing that slowed us down a little bit with Dufold, is how great the community was to take it over, but we weren't able to do an updated study before they did, so that didn't entitle them to some monies.
Woods?
Roy Wood. Yeah, Roy Wood. Yeah, he's a good guy. He wants to give it over. Local guy, right, Bob? Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, it's better that we do these initial, especially the phase 1 study first, so it doesn't lock us out of any type of grant opportunities. And we've learned that as we've grown with the. No.
Post-history.
Yeah, because around it, they sold the remainder, which we're talking still, we don't know about that fine yet, but in the garage looks just like the school, with that cool direct. No, it goes up.
All right, so.
There is room behind it for development and parking though, and there's an old gym there as well that could be utilized.
I know HRP is a pretty, reputable firm. This is the first time I'm seeing this quote. Can we just make sure that they're conducting a FOIA on it for the phase 1 so that any other investigations can be captured? Because any other environmental engineer has to, by law, report, any sort of findings. So I understand they're taking samples of
Well, that's
asbestos, et
asbestos,
cetera.
but on the phase 1 study, they will do that.
Isn't this what we're looking at?
No,
phase
you have
1?
2 of them there. You have an asbestos study to check for asbestos, and you have a phase 1 environmental.
And,
So the phase 1 environmental starts on page 43,
okay, so, okay.
and the asbestos is on 40. And part of that phase 1, they will do that.
Okay, I was on the asbestos one, okay. fine. Thank you.
No, thank you for pointing that out.
Need a motion to accept the bids 1 and 2.
Well, no, just a big.
Motion to, and second by John. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Second.
We need to approve the asbestos study.
Second. Yeah, need a motion. Dan, second. Dan Scrivano, any discussion? Favor, aye. Any opposed?
Yes, so, I had a meeting, as I mentioned, and we talked at night to Mr. Weekly and myself with the board. They are looking to make their downtown, their village more accessible for economic development, for a lot of different things. There's several buildings in there that really need to come back to life. There's several businesses that cannot expand because they do not have proper septic in place. So, Mr. Butler came in, Mayor Butler came in and gave me a presentation that he received from Labarge Group. I'm still gonna reach out to a couple more first. But I think this is one of the things that we're able to do with our money. We're not able to give grants and loans like we would like to, but we're able to do studies to help these communities out, especially when it comes to economic development. And this is truly what that's falling on. Right now, the price to do this septic sewer type study would be $23,000. I would like to request, because I'm not sure we're gonna go with Labarge, I'm gonna reach out, as I mentioned, to a couple other firms, and actually, we have a septic expert in the room that doesn't clean the septics, but works on them, from the engineering side. Your fellow shirt wearer, though. Yeah, Jimmy fell in yesterday, he would have been proud.
I'm always proud of
Look at ridiculousness, the next 3 episodes after that, Jim will be in there reaching the sewer. But, so I think that what we need to do is really, I would really like to ask Mr. Krowecki to look at what we get proposed to. But I'd like to move ahead with it in a manner that says not to exceed, 25K. If that's okay with the board, because I don't think we want to slow it down, well, maybe we do, I don't understand septic. But, we want to definitely take a better look at it. And I think we want to see what other engineering groups we have locally and get some recommendations too. I've not worked with Labarge, I can say they're good or bad, but I have worked with other ones that I think would maybe fit into our area.
This. Our room is on,
Yeah, they're looking to expand
Yeah.
in the food service right now. They can't
do it,
in
right.
septic and.
so that would help them do that then?
Most definitely. He's looking to do that now. He's purchased a building next to him.
Oh, okay.
Anticipation of something coming up.
You know, sometimes he's open, sometimes he's not. I mean, that's what I was.
So this,
It's a beautiful little place, and it's just a shame that he can't do everything he wants to do.
so this would involve a sewer treatment.
No,
Yeah. Well, it had to go someplace.
well, but it could into another septic with a larger leach field.
Right.
You
You're
look-
down by the courthouse or by the old school,
We've
whatever.
looked at a lot of different things right now, that's by the studies and.
Not a-
Now,
not a
other
sewer.
businesses and people have studies, it's not gonna affect a business that theirs is working fine. And we need to get that clear out to them, so they're not all of a sudden gonna say, oh my God, I need to invest $200,000. Plus, this study will help them apply for different northern borders, other grants out there that we can.
So this is not a shared system, this is an individual.
Today it is, but tomorrow what could happen is it could be shared through a septic, a larger septic. They do have one public works worker that handles their water system that can handle a pump to pump this, to combine that, yeah.
There's several buildings right there that all have septic problems. You can't expand, you can't get bigger. You know, they're all leaching.
So be it, the septic, actually, it wouldn't be a
Actually,
a treatment plant, it would be a
No,
septic tank and
collection
then
and
pumping it.
to leach. To leach.
So I've never heard of it. I've never heard it done on a municipal level, or would it be private?
Why do you think?
No, I've never heard of it being done this way, as a shared septic.
Is there a district that shares charges to do this, or is each individual property owner responsible?
I think they would look to form, like they have the water district, I think they would look to do something, that's what they said, yeah.
What do you think?
Well, the thing is too, once you start, all the other businesses are gonna kind of probably wanna get on board. I mean, I would think, you know.
Well, that's what a study
I just
hopefully
know
would
when you
show,
do
right?
this at a municipal level, the state health department, they have to, and DEC, they're all gonna get involved in speedies permits and who's gonna, like Tony said, who's gonna be responsible? I mean, we can go through it and never heard of septic system, and I know they frown upon it when you get into municipal. I know private one parcel project for one individual, that's different. Mark would probably speak better on this, but,
There are centralized septic systems that aren't a waste treatment plant. Especially, you know, you might see it in developments, residential developments, that have a little bit space on each lot or smaller areas where there's.
Do you think we're creating this study though? I'll accept your. input.
No, no, I mean, if that's what the residents and the business owners want, can't hurt to look into it.
I mean, that restaurant is a huge draw for Newport.
No, what
Right?
one are you
So-
thinking? No, that's in Poland. Newport is, what's this
Right.
one?
The top
Yeah.
there.
Okay. Bob, what was in that
On the
corner?
left?
The thing is, that's where I grew up a lot of my life. The thing is, it's nothing, as Jimmy said, and Bill was saying, the bank has never, I mean, there's been many people that came in there and wanted to purchase that old bank. It's a staple, it's right on the corner. Yeah, it's right on the corner. The bank, the old bank is right on the corner, right across from where office,
Where it
furniture used to
starts.
be. But there's nowhere, like Bill is saying, out back, you got Soros, there's houses that were all built in back of that. And there's really, like Bill said, there's really, I mean, I think it's a great idea, like Mark said, I mean, I understand what Jimmy's saying, but you would have to have a conglomeration of the businesses there willing to sponsor, you know, the whole thing, like a district.
I would suggest that you talk to the state health department first to see if it can be done before you spend $25,000. If they frown upon it, and I know the response is gonna take a long time to get from them, but instead of dumping 25 grand into this, talk to the health department.
Well, Jimmy,
see if
the
it's
thing
been
is-
done and if it can be done, if they'll approve, if they'll give a.
It's economic development, though, so you're not going anywhere up there. if you
I
don't do
understand,
this.
I understand, and I want to help,
Well,
them. I'm just saying.
Can I ask a question though? What if we reach out to say Delta, who's helped us all along, and they say, yes, it's been done right here? Or Mark knows the situation, which he just said, there was multiple house, each one of those in that developer, they own their own house, right? They don't. It's not
Yeah,
owned by-
I don't know.
Not like in Jimmy's Parks, which, you know, it's.
Right, it's more
I
of
know,
a-
Jimmy developed.
I know, like the development Skylar, would be.
You're asking the board to make a decision with, I think, insufficient information right now. Can we table this for 30 days to give Jimmy, everybody information and vote on it, or set a special meeting? Just so doing your due diligence before you spend $25,000.
Well, how about we do this then? How about we not vote on the money, but that you vote, make a resolution to look into the opportunity for the study and that, just so that way I can, when I call these guys up, I say, okay, we're taking the next step. This is what we need to do.
Not sure if you need to vote on that.
Well, okay, as long as you're all in support of it.
I just, I know there's a project in Skylar next to, and the state put the kibosh to it because that's what they wanted to do. And that's the only reason I'm bringing this up.
And you saw the state reports and I'm trying to figure that
Through
out.
the town. You know, the state wants lots to meet a certain size. And
Yeah, but that stopped.
having their own system, they were talking. Yeah. So- Okay, so we'll put a hold on this till, let's wait 30 days, to get some answers.
So Bill, I'll reach out to and let you know, but I'll start doing some digging and see where they are and give examples of where it's happened before. Okay, so we'll take care of that side of it and then the next time, which it won't slow us down. But I think it's important for the growth in that area. If we don't do something.
There is no growth.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, you got the old boarding plant up there across the river. If you turn that into like a a waste plant or something.
No, that's a beautiful,
I know, but I'm just trying to utilize them.
boutique hotel on the West Canada. No, there we got other.
In proximity to the creek.
But you need the sewer. correct?
But they have
Septic, you have to pump it up.
Yeah, which I asked Mark and, Mayor Butler, and he said they do have a public works individual and they can handle that, yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, but like you said too, and that's why they haven't fixed that road. And that would be a perfect opportunity. And there's money now for this type of infrastructure.
I'm not opposed, to it. It'd be a great idea, just I want to make sure that they will give it.
Think 2 steps ahead, so.
Okay. All right, so let's go with item 13, Village of Herkimer, the BOA.
So before we agreed as a board, or you all agreed as a board to move ahead and support the grant. You know, and we've done this before financially. So what we're looking to do is we're applying for the BOA with the Village of Herkimer. By the way, it was a 4-to-1 vote. The only one that voted against it was Dominic Scalise. Tried to make a deal with the mayor right there in front of the whole public and say, if you vote for these other grants, I'll vote for this one. But it was quite a unique opportunity right there to see something like that out of a new trustee. But very taken back by that night. There was some legislators there that night. One of them particularly said he was shocked that I stayed and didn't just walk out. But I thought it was best for the community that we continue to do this. This will be approximately 32 acres in the Village of Herkimer. That'll encompass quite a bit of downtown Main Street, the Bill's School, almost all the way down to German in some of those properties. It does include the Quackenbush building, which I think is important that we include everything down there. And BOA doesn't like it when you carve out one spot anyways. So this is an opportunity. It's about a $200,000 grant. The IDA would administer it, work on with the RFP to get the planner in here. The IDA would commit about $19,000 to the grant. What happens is this is a grant that gets us to be in line to be a nominated BOA area. And if that happens, that opens up a huge amount of other grant opportunities. Once they see that, because there's planning involved, there's environmental involved. We're doing that one in Dollarville now. It's moving ahead nicely. BOA can add it to their funds to raise it up to $5 million. I've been in touch with the people at the Department of State. We were going to do this 2 years ago. It just didn't work out. So this year, when the new mayor came on board, eager to see some change with that, and so are we. And we're willing to help out with the village on this.
What was the reason for the objection?
Because she wouldn't vote for other grants that he wanted to do she had no backup on it. Yeah, it was quite, there was a lot of conversation. One of the other trustees asked, will this help us or hurt us with other grants? I've never had that question on a grant. That was quite unique. But I told him, no, this would only help in some of those other ones. Asked if his grant writer could do it. I said, of course, but the IDA would not do that. We already have everything in place. Didn't understand why they were so against something to help them out, to be honest with you. Another thing with grants, it's got to be, as Mr. Bono knows, the highest elected official in a community that signs the grants. They, for some reason, wanted to add a trustee. I mean, in one line they added it, but nobody cared because it doesn't really matter. It can be the highest elected official, like Jimmy signs. So I'm not sure where they were going with that. Maybe somebody else has insight to it, but we're going to move ahead and help no matter what. And hopefully, it's a tough learning lesson if we don't. I think the mayor, and there'll be a planning committee, and we'll invite other people from the community and electeds and everybody else to sit and be a part of that and find ways to make changes. I mean, we met with Dollarville several times now. One of our suggestions was to move Main Street. It's a wacky one, but when you look at it, the street behind it's wider and you'd be right on the creek. So here, what's going to attract? What can we do? You know, is here to the canal, you know, just things that people. So excited to help any way we can with that. So we're looking for a resolution for the support of the
Need a motion? Made and second by Mike, discussion. All in favor, aye. Opposed, no. Okay, let's go to, I don't think there's anyone else except Jim Wallace is on
Accident as well.
Huh?
He's not on
it.
either.
So who's the one participant?
Us.
Okay. Any, the legislature wish to speak?
John would love to report with us. To look at that building. So the untrained eye, but like myself, it looked pretty damn scary. The best thing in my eyes is to get rid of it and tear it down and start over, John. Yeah, have a different view of it. And it's really open up some options, other options that I don't think myself or the village realized was there.
No, you're welcome. Leadville, it's a very cool building.
I don't know North Newport all that well. I'm on Main Street, we're on to the right.
Well, you go into the first bar you come to on your left.
Well, I know where that is.
No, yeah, you take a right actually up School Street.
It's flashing light.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah. it's flashing.
Yeah, so it's, and it sits right up there on the hill. And, you know, we need in this community, in this county, in this region, single floor, one level apartments. Nice. This building could be for younger people or older people that want to stay in the community. You know, if you want to stay in Newport, Poland, Middleville, you could stay right at school, the old school where you went to school and they fixed up. You know, you have a nice apartment in there with an elevator and it's one floor and you have parking. There is no gas there, but it's not far away. And I did talk to Kurt. We're gonna have to meet with Kurt Ackerman and talk to the National Grid. But I mean, the electricity's there, so now you're looking at this is gonna be a complete green building. I mean, you could really do a lot. There's a lot of money to fix these things up.
I'd like to thank John for working with the village on the facility that was there the other night, and thank the ADA for supporting. and financing.
Thanks. Anyone else? Okay, let's go to updates. You want to start water transmission line?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. We lost a 1.25 opportunity, $1,250,000 opportunity here last week. Maybe Mr. Bono would like to talk about that.
Yeah. The Fruit County Attorney's Office, we were a little late on submitting paperwork, and that actually cost us this, not that it cost us this round, we can get that next year.
We
but
don't know if we
time-
can.
It's an opportunity that's there, it's usually there. We're counting on it to be there. If it isn't, well, we actually lost it. So it's mainly a time frame. We lost the time after there. So
I don't understand that statement.
we lost the grant, but we could potentially get it next year. We're just losing time right now. But if we
The
don't get it
grant was
next year.
for the water transmission pipe. We will not need the pipe next year. So tell me how it fits into what it is. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
It'd still be available next year.
Well, the grant's still available, but not for, the grant might be there, but not for what we need it for.
The overall project is.
We don't know if that fits into the overall project. No, that was the whole point behind it.
So we did lose out on that.
We
Delay on the return.
No,
I'm not
this is a place to talk
Yeah,
about.
well, I'm not gonna get into it in a personnel matter either, okay? So I'll talk to the legislators.
But the IDA is the.
Okay, we'll go to executive session. if you want executive session.
All right, we'll bring them up there. But just so you know, there's 1.25 not towards the pipeline that was needed. And they had all the things that they needed, and saying they knew what they were doing. They even called Victoria and myself and asked questions, and they said, we're not attorneys. We're not attorneys in this. That's the only attorney that we